Hey, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Paul,
And I am Patrick.
and tonight we're going to be talking about. Wait for it. I know it's too early, but we're going to do it anyway.
Go for it.
Spooktober! Our Spooktober is coming up. Which
I love
is.
it. I love it. Years doing this with you, Paul. This is one of my favorite times of year simply because I get your rendition of Spooktober.
You gotta say
The
it.
red light is on. It's not for sexy times, it's for Spooktober.
Spooktober. Yeah, so it's going to
Love
be
it.
Halloween, going to be spooky horror movie thing. This is where Patrick kindly, which just lets me, which just spread my horror movie wings and slowly devour the audience's souls. Um,
We represent two sides of humanity here, Paul. People like you who are steely, stone cold, and not scared of any movies, and people like me who are like, I don't know, that Care Bear movie looks like it might get a little bit too dark in places. No, I'm not that big a softie. I do enjoy horror movies. I just don't have quite the stomach or constitution that you do, Paul. But I'm kind of into it, and I'm over the years of Spooktober. October is now becoming one of my favorite movie months. Not only going back watching old horrors that I have seen, but
yeah.
thanks to these conversations, seeing new and old horrors that I should have seen.
Yeah, no, it's nice to kind of go through some of the old horror movies, kind of because like there's some of them are just so classic. Which is, and then some of the new ones that are coming out, which are we're kind of going into a new age of kind of great horror as well, which is fantastic because yeah, we haven't had the best of like I guess stuff which is in the past. So it's nice to see us. It's nice to see the horror movies kind of
Oh God,
reinvigorated,
yeah.
especially with the likes of which is like Jordan Peele and Mick Flanagan and stuff like that, which we may
Yeah.
mention later on.
And Paul, that's what we're going to do. We're going to tell people what they should be looking out for in October, in Spook. I did it in Spooktober. So what's coming up on the horror Halloween horizon, so to speak, and a few mentions of things that are already out there. Because this, folks, it's stuff you're going to want to see. I'm genuinely excited for all of these picks.
Yeah,
Well,
so
except one, but we'll be making fun of that.
that makes sense. So yeah, so which is the whole purpose is this is to fill up your Spooktober essentially with all the horror movies, which is either coming out or which is over the horizon. So let's start it off with let's start it off with some body horror and also a cult classic, which was Saw X, the 10th entry into the Saw franchise, which was you may have remembered it as Saw 1, essentially the movie where it was two guys in a body stuck in a one room kind of thing, which devoured like evolved into essentially a full on body horror kind of franchise kind of thing, which is just fantastic.
Contraption horror is what I saw invented. Contraption horror. You're in a device, you have a tough choice to make. If you don't do the gross thing, the other gross thing's going to happen to you because of the device you are either in, on, near, or is wrapped around you. And they are, I'll give the Saw franchise this. Who would have thought that they could have made 10 movies and keep coming up with new and interesting traps and devices and stuff that are, because they're not just gross, they are that kind of, ooh, what would you do? Part of the Saw thing is, ooh, what would you do?
But yeah, like the concept of essentially being trapped, put into a trap, and then told like if you can get out of it, which is going to cause you some kind of pain, you essentially have your life back. It's kind of one of these kind of things where
Mm.
it's just like, oh, it's a second chat. I don't know.
What would you do
Um,
to survive? And
yeah,
that's where, like, the big thing for this Saw, because I haven't seen all the entries, I've seen enough to know. And obviously Saw has become pop culture now.
mm,
Even if you haven't actually watched Saw movies, you know some of the things. Like John Kramer, one of the big characters, Tobin Bell is back for this one, Paul. It's like, this is definitely a Saw movie. This isn't one of those, oh, somebody got the rights and is just making a movie and throwing the Saw name on it. The little
yeah,
Jigsaw, the creepy bugger on the bike, is going to be rolling around and everything.
yeah. That's the whole thing. So, which is, I think it was like in like halfway through the franchise, which is John passed away. No, not a big spoiler,
Yep.
kind of thing. Which is if you'd watched the start of it, you would realize that he was on the path to death himself, and which is the whole reason why he started off the Jigsaw murders. Which is so, but yeah, he's back. Which is we don't know if this is going, if this is the 10th entry in the movie franchise, yet a prequel to something else, or if John has somehow pulled a Houdini and is able to, which is survive his untimely death in the early movies of the franchise. Um, Interesting enough, if you haven't watched the Saw franchise, I will say that their plots are quite good, which is funny in the sense of like
Yeah.
when you look at them, they don't seem that good. They just seem like they're just going to be like, yeah, as you say,
But it
contraption
works.
trapped kind of body horror stuff. But there's actually some kind of mystery and subterfuge and twists and turns which are great.
And
So
they've built their own little universe. Like they, to be fair to Saw, out of nothing, they've created quite a lot. And when I say nothing, out of a basic premise, they've managed to stretch quite a little bit of universe building, world building. And yeah, like I really respect the Saw franchise, even though it's not my thing. I'm like, that tip, fair play.
it is an interesting one. So, which is yeah, with Soul X, I would say that if you're a person who's interested in kind of a weird twist of faith, kind of story, and also do like some body horror kind of stuff, this is the perfect movie franchise to start off. Which is to watch in your Spooktober library or backlog. Um, Speaking of people coming back, Patrick, the next
Oh,
one.
well, you see, you don't have to be a horror person to know The Exorcist, because The Exorcist it's like you can't say it's the daddy because it's the little girl of them all. It's the original. It's the priest facing off against pea soup shooter. It is legendary. And we'll talk more about The Exorcist during this month, I think, because it is 50 years old. Um, and as things happen in Hollywood, there's been some sequels, but
Mhm.
now there's going to be another. And the difference with this is Exorcist Believer, which some people already love and some people already hate, even though
Yeah.
they haven't seen it, because there's some strong feelings out in the internet, particularly around something like as cherished as The Exorcist. Like it's an Oscar nominated horror film. The Exorcist was serious. I don't know if we're going to be expecting any Oscar nominations for Exorcist Believer, but what, Paul, is creepier than one little girl with her head turning around and being possessed?
Uh, Multiplying that number.
Exactly. Well, actually, if they'd multiplied and make it like 25 of them, then it would have been truly terrifying.
Oh, well,
But two, instead of an art, they should have gone for an army. They're saving it for the next one. Um, yeah, now you've got two little creepy girls possessed by the good old devil himself, or by whatever it's going to end up being possessed by, or they're going to end up being possessed by. Importantly, though, Ellen Burstyn is back, so you've got that cred of the original mother from the original film is back all these years later. I, in a twisted way, I'm kind of looking forward to watching this one,
oh
but it's
yeah.
mostly because of how much I love the original Exorcist.
Well,
So it kind of had me at that.
well, this is the thing. This is supposedly a direct sequel to the original movie, unlike the other Exorcist movies, which are kind of more kind of like just part of the franchise, kind of
Yeah.
following kind of exorcisms and stuff like that. This is meant to be a direct follow on from the original Exorcist. Having the character of the mother in the first one essentially come back as essentially the grandmother and their family essentially seemingly being cursed and another family also being cursed kind of thing of this demon. So it's a nice kind of like I guess callback to the original, callback to the character, um, callback to the possessions and the exorcisms and stuff like that. But being a direct
Yeah.
follow on kind of thing from the original series gives it a little bit more gravitas, especially in its 50-year anniversary. So it should be good.
That's it. Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm hoping there'll be plenty of head spinning, lots of nods to the original. All I'll say is, if at least one priest doesn't have something unbelievably disgusting said to him, it won't be an Exorcist movie for me. Yeah, so that's Exorcist Believer out on October 6th in theaters.
Indeed. So the next film, which is kind of like a well, it's a based on a game, a horror game, with a very simple process or very simple gameplay, which goes, but it's Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a demented Chuck E. Cheese, which goes kind of show. But yeah, it was based on a game. This is the first movie in its franchise. Apart from there is a YouTube short film kind of done by a fan, which has also gained quite a large popularity. But this is the official, which is Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out at the end of October. It's October 27th. It portrays essentially a security guard or caretaker of a Chuck E. Cheese type kind of place called Five Nights at Freddy's, and it's haunted in a weird way that it has animatronic creatures that come to life at night and try to kill you. So
Which, like, it's weird because because of the game and because of the kind of the internet lore around the game, and then, like you say, fan created projects, and that the kind of the main popular fan movie. Five Nights at Freddy's seems like it's been in my sphere of consciousness for so long, yet I have no idea about it. And then when I finally get to watch a trailer for a theatrical movie, I'm like, ah, so it's, yeah, like Chuck E. Cheese gone mad.
yeah,
That's really good. That could be really fun. Now, I don't know if it will be any good. I'm not giving anybody any guarantees of quality for the actual movie. But young Josh Hutcherson from famously, I guess, The Hunger Games, most
yeah,
famously, the idea of having a bit of fun in there with animatronic creepy buggers running around, like, it could be fun. I like all the different strata of movies we've hit so far. You've got your Saw, like you say, body horror with plot and some universe ties. Then you're talking Exorcist Believer. This is one of those ones that I'm like, fresh, right? That's going to be different. Is there another Five Nights at Freddy's out there? Not
yeah.
really.
Yeah, like this looking like kind of a monster movie, I guess would be the best way to kind of like closely get us into the kind of, I guess, horror genres kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's an interesting concept. There's also a massive lore behind the whole Five Nights at Freddy's monsters, creatures and stuff like that. Each one of them have an individual name as well, and also have an interesting story behind them, which is just weird, like that there's so much lore behind these kind of five kind of robots, animatronic kind of creatures. So it will be hard. I will say that it will be hard to portray that massive lore. So I don't know if the fans of the games and the full lore kind of thing will be. They'll be happy that it exists. I hope,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's going to expand more on the universe. But
Oh, take what you can get, fans. Take what
that,
you can get at this stage. It's hard enough to get something like this made. So and if it does really well and the fans support it, then you're opening the door to having all that lore spilled out in subsequent streaming TV series, etc.
yeah, like I'll be interested because the game is currently up on. This is the first game, which is kind of a sorry, this is the second game I think, which is kind of a very simple concept of essentially just you're a security guard in a room that closes doors. You don't move anywhere. It's like a click adventure
Mm.
game kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how they can bring that feeling of dread in a seat, in one seat, kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. I think it's going to be fun overall. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. Which is so. While we're going to go to the next one, why don't we which is jump into the comments because I can see a lot of comments going on
Yes.
in there. So before we jump
Yeah.
on into our next one, we'll do
Well,
that.
we've got another an absolute horror fan with this. Brian, you're in there. Got your notepad ready. Great Saw is a classic, says Brian, but I haven't watched one since. Yeah, the first movie. I know once something starts hitting a lot of sequels, the tendency is to pull back. I have it on good authority that the sequels I haven't seen, some of them are actually really quite good. The ones that I have seen parts of, I was surprised. Like I say, really surprised that they managed to create a little Saw universe a bit more deftly than you would have thought.
Yeah.
Um, and he also says I had no idea there was another Exorcist movie. Yeah, Brian, I'm not expecting this thing to light the box office and fire.
No.
There, because the people who do know about it, a lot of them have strong feelings against it. So we'll see, we'll see. I don't think it's going to be the big Halloween hit.
Yeah, because I do think that the other Exorcists were accepted because they weren't direct follow-ons of any of the movies. Essentially, they were just oh,
Yeah,
someone is possessed. Let's send in an exorcist. It wasn't like the exorcist who follows them around or anything. But yeah, it should be interesting, at least to
yeah.
watch, and also kind of, I guess, if it doesn't do anything, it'll make you want to watch the original. So
There you go. And actually, Mark Tonk says I've been meaning to watch the first Saw film. Maybe Halloween would be a good time to see it. Perfect time of year for it. And if you end up liking it, there's 9 more of them now. So there's a treasure trove waiting for you.
Oh, which is yeah. So which is yeah. The sort of films are worth watching and stuff like that. So I would recommend them. Which is The Exorcist 3 is a good watch. Fingers crossed for the new one. Yeah, like as I said, which is it'll be an interesting one. And I see that also Mark is another horror fan, which is pal of Bruce. So that's great to have you both. Thanks very much.
Unbelievably happy to have you here.
Let us know if you like our list. So.
Yes, and also let us know if there's anything we're missing out. Throw it into the comments. Feel free.
Mm. So yeah, let's jump on to which is our next entry in our list of things that you should watch, which is Pet Cemetery Bloodlines, which I think is the first of our streaming ones. The ones that we were talking about originally were all theater based. These are our streaming lists, which is so which is let us know what you think about that. But this is on Paramount Plus, which is and yeah.
Yeah, so Paramount Plus and possibly in Europe, you never know. Sometimes the Paramount Plus stuff shows up on Amazon or somewhere else. It'll be on a streaming service in Europe as well. But this is another Pet Cemetery. This is technically a sequel to one of the Pet Cemetery reboots that we've had. Paul, this is the one that I'm going to take the Mickey out of.
Okay.
I I pushed to have this on the list simply because it's not Halloween unless there's something Stephen King or Stephen King adjacent. Unless you have something John Carpenter or John Carpenter adjacent. So this fulfills this year's 2023 quota is fulfilled by Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. I just think I watched the trailer and I thought, wow, David Duchovny and a dog that it's supposed to look creepy, but it more just looks like it's having really heavy thoughts. Sometimes when something's supposed to be scary, but you're like, oh, you've seen things, but not in a horror kind of way. More like, what it's like when you can't pay the mortgage and you really don't want to go to work the next day. The dog didn't have the demon look. It had the, can't believe life's come to this.
It does look like one of those kind of, it looks like a downtrodden dog, which is,
it really does.
This is a follow-on, I think, of the 2019 Pet Cemetery movie, which had, and I cannot remember his name. The only other movie I've ever seen him in is in Terminator Genesis, which was terrible. It's a follow-on from that reboot, which is my only problem is it doesn't have the original guy who's just like dead is better. That's the best line. They should have just
one more reading on that line, Paul.
Dead is better. Sometimes dead is better. It's just the best line that anyone has ever said. Which is, and the way that he delivered it, when he's just they're digging up a grave, and he's saying it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna warn you as we do the thing we're not meant to be doing." Like that's very much of kind of going, "Yeah, I'm gonna cover my bases, so next time we see each other, and you're just like, hey, so this went wrong," I can be like, "Well, I told you so,"
Yeah. Yeah, I love God, I love it when you do a good line reading of a dude like that. But Paul, this one, let's call it what it is. It's probably going to be a bit geek. It might be a bit rubbish, but again, Stephen King, Halloween, Stephen King adjacent, even because it is stretching the property. Let's say, you kind of have to. You mightn't watch it, but you kind of have to at least acknowledge that it exists.
Of course. Yeah, it's also Pet Cemetery, which is like a staple of classic horror. So having Bloodlines come out, you might as well give it a go.
Why not?
Also, it's been a long time since I've seen Mulder, so
it's true.
Which was other than the new X-Men or X Files, which is okay. So moving on to something a little bit more kind of, I guess, kind of kooky kind of thing.
I'll be honest with you, Paul. This one, I'm going to need. I'm not going to be suggestive and say I'm going to need to put my third thumb up. But if I had a third hand, I would put a third thumb up based on the trailer for Totally Killer. That's going to be Prime Video, at least I think for us. So probably Prime Video worldwide. It is, and I love this, Paul. I watched the trailer and straight away went, "That's a movie that's made for me."
Yeah,
because it's essentially Halloween and Back to the Future being mashed together. It's a load of tropes. You can see it in the trailer. A load of horror tropes, but a load of time travel tropes as well. A lot of the going back in time and meeting your mom and your mom's being like, she's the queen bee bitch of the school, that sort of thing. It hits on so many levels, and it's going to have maximum 80s visuals, hair, vibe, and I wore them, some probably very dodgy stonewashed jeans and things like that. So I like full on own my 80s past. Thankfully, digital photography means most of the photographs it wasn't around then, so no evidence. But yeah, this one I am like, this is my Halloween movie of them all. This is it. This is the one that I'm like, I have to see this. It looks fun. Check out the trailer, folks. Everything I want in a movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually, Totally Killer reminds me of essentially. So there's been a list of which is like I think the Murder Club. I think it's called the Murder Club. And then there's also the Halloween trilogy that's also on Netflix, but also Happy Death Day. Also, this is also reminding me of,
Yeah,
which is just the Groundhog Day death horror movie, which is also sounds very good.
yeah.
Um,
This is definitely in that vibe. It's got the Happy Death Day feel to it, which again mash up some genres. And if horror can't pilfer from everywhere else, no genre can. So we're all happy to take the nods, not tips.
Yeah, this is also one of those movies that's also going to do it's yeah, it's going to be a very good nod to, as you say, a very good nod to the horror thing. I think every now and again having one of these films come out and remind us of why we watch horror kind of thing by making a little bit of fun of it is also really good, because like it's also something good that if you are just watching horror movie after horror movie and you're just like, I need a break, Total Killer, like put it in
There
there
you go.
kind of thing. Which is I don't well we can jump on to our last streaming one, which is so we
Sure,
have time. Yeah, let's jump onto
we'll
it.
fit it in.
So,
Well,
suitable flesh.
suitable flesh, Paul. As you're the HP Lovecraft man of the two of us, you
Mm-hmm.
know his work. This one, folks, has flown under a lot of radars, even though it picked up awards at some, smaller movie awards festivals.
Yeah,
That's the word that I was stuck for. But you've got Heather Graham in what seems like, and the trailer is delightfully done in that VHS horror style of it's treating it like it's an old movie, yet you can see, oh yeah, this isn't. And it looks like Heather Graham's getting quite a meaty part. And like we just talked about with Totally Killer, it's got the body swap thing going on. So you've got essential, and that's not spoiling anything. The trailer lays that out. You got body swap going on, and it looks demented. I'm so down for this one as well. Its release will probably be on VOD because it's limited theater release.
yeah,
So
yeah,
depending on what country you're on, some streamer might pick it up.
yeah. Yeah, you made me onto this. As you said, it flew under the radar, so I'm interested in this, and especially from the HP Lovecraft, because I'm not getting my cabinet of curiosity itch this time. So suitably flesh might scratch that itch. So I'm hoping that's the case, kind of thing. Yeah, I also enjoy body swapping. That's always a fun kind of concept. So
And I just saw in the comments, Bruce says suitable flesh noted. Yes, go and check out the trailers for things like Totally Killer and Suitable Flesh. You will see that they're probably going to be, it's not just me and Paul pumping these things up. Actually, for this one, not only some awards wins, but also Rotten Tomatoes, love them or hate them. Just the review scores, it's already at a 94%.
nice. Which goes, we're gonna jump to an ad break, which goes, and we'll be back in a couple of seconds. So, which goes, let us know in the comments down below where we're gone if you like the list so far. We'll be back in a couple of seconds.
Nice one. You obviously like two people talking about movies, or you wouldn't even be seeing this ad. Well, don't tell anyone. But Hear Us Out isn't the only choice. You should check out our friends over at It Takes Two podcast. It's a podcast where two people take two films with the same plot or premise, watch it and discuss them. Films like Gremlins and Critters, or The Truman Show on EdTV. Lisa and Nick don't stop there though. They get creative and compare some unexpected movies. Some that you don't see the connection until you realise that they can be described in the same way. They launch new episodes every second Tuesday, or Monday if you're in New Zealand. Find them on your favourite podcast service, or check the link in our description down below. That's It Takes Two podcast. Tell them Hear Us Out sent you.
Hey guys, thanks very much for watching it. That is our friends of the show. It Takes Two, which is yeah, go check them out on all where your podcasting needs. They mash two movies together that have similar plot lines, in a very interesting kind of manner, and they chat about them.
And we throw the gauntlet down to them to do a Halloween special. And absolutely, Paul, I think it's fine. They've got to use Spooktober as well at some point.
I hope so.
And
Spooktober.
yes, everybody who doesn't realize what I was just doing there, I was trying to goad him into doing his Spooktober rendition. Love you,
Uh,
brother.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. Which is hopefully, hey, Lisa, Nick, you should do a Spooktober episode, and you should
A what
constantly shout
episode, Paul?
a Spooktober episode.
Damn right.
Cool. Which is so back onto the list. Which is guys, so which is we were talking about some of the movies that were coming out on streaming services and also in theaters. We're going to talk about some of the TV shows that is which is coming out on streaming services. Just in case you not getting your full fill of your horror kind of movie stuff. So one of the ones that we're going to focus on the most probably, which is out pretty soon. And it's also done by the guy who's done quite a lot of really good horror TV shows lately, it's called The Fall of the House of Usher. It's done by Mick Flanagan. He's the guy who did Bly House, The Haunting of Hill House, and also which is Midnight Mass, which is he is also known for which is oh my god. He's also known for a couple of other which is really cool things. My brain has gone completely blank. But yeah, which is it's got some returning cast as well. Some of the guys that we really like. What's it called? Raul Coley, he's coming back, and Tina Miller, which are in which is Bly House, which is great. They're really good actors as well, and I'm
Yeah.
really happy that they're working with Mick Flanagan because it's just fun.
We actually talked about this crew. I think it was last year when we were covering whatever his release last year was.
Midnight
Because you're
Mass.
that's right. That's right. And it is a great sign to see people like a little troop sort of sticking together almost. And I always love it when I see people who like working together repeatedly. Because that means that, you know, they're having a good time. It's not toxic sets or anything like that. It's good stuff. And that usually does lead to a great at least can lead to a great end product. So yeah, you've been a fan of his stuff so far. The Fall of the House of Usher, like scale of 1 to 10, are we talking you're pumped for it or
Like, I'm
where are
very
we?
pumped for it because which is not only does it have which is Roland, Tina, it also has Henry, who's which played the father and played a couple of other characters. He's coming back, but one of the biggest signs of kind of I guess one of the biggest signs of support of a TV series is the fact is that Mark Hamill is in it,
Very nice.
which is already kind of jumped it, and also Bruce Green. He's also Bruce Greenwood. He's also in it as well. So those two kind of actors have a really good caliber of kind of work. So I'm really kind of looking forward to this. It's based on a short story by Edgar Allan Poe, which
Oh.
was a movie. So this is kind of so it was a movie originally, with Vincent Price in it. So this show or this kind of short story kind of thing has a lot of lineage in it.
Well, Price is royalty in, you know, Spooktober terms. Like we were talking Bela Lugosi, Vincent Price, like the big names, the Mount Rushmore of our Spooktober. So that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that it's kind of he's going through a lot of the genre horror. So the first two were hauntings. The
Yep.
Midnight Mass was which got mystery and kind of monster, and then which was the fall of the House of Usher, which is like I guess a kind of supernatural killer slasher kind of thing. You should
Yeah.
check out the trailer to get a little bit more on it because I obviously don't want to spoil it. But it looks great. I'm really kind of interested in this, especially with that cast.
It's already getting some love in the comments. By the way, high pop culture. Yeah, Midnight Mass is it didn't do him any harm, if you know what I mean. As far as the run that he's on, already at a high. So I think Follow the House of Usher goes straight on the list as far as short series for Halloween.
Yeah, I think if this is if you were essentially if you're going to go through our list of movies, streaming and theater, the Fall of the House of Usher is a good one to kind of intermix while you're not going to the cinema or anything like that. If you wanted something to continuously watch throughout the October or Spooktober season, which is
And yeah, actually, Mark Tonks just called out that Hush was very good, and that's by him as well. So Hush is one of the other related properties.
yeah, there's quite a lot of really good stuff by Mike Flanagan, which is one of the other things was Doctor Sleep. The Midnight Club is the one that I was talking about. He had a hand in the Midnight Club, which is the kind of I guess more teeny kind of I guess horror
Mm,
show kind of thing. But yeah, he's on a fantastic run of horror movies, and he's becoming one of my biggest names within the horror genre, which is just fantastic
that's cool.
kind of thing. So yeah, check him out. That's another TV show. Now, if by any chance you can't wait for October or Spooktober to get your fix of some kind of horror genre, a little show which is on its fourth season, which is Castlevania Nocturna, is out actually today. It's already out on streaming services right now. This is the fourth installment of the Castlevania show, which is the first series followed Trevor Belmont and his adventures with Alucard and I think it was Eve, which was fighting or trying to fight Dracula and vampires. This entire series is based on a video game, Castlevania: The Return to Castlevania. If any fans of the game actually know that this is actually the main character in most of the games that's in this series. So we've got 3 seasons of people who aren't their mentions. They may be in one game, but this is the actual person. Um,
They're pulling
so
out the big gun now.
yeah, so this is really interesting. The animation is beautiful. It's Richard Belmont, who's a couple of generations on from the Trevor Belmont kind of I guess error. But it's out right now. You can go watch it. I'm actually going to watch it after the show. I'm literally going to go downstairs and I'm going to start watching this series right now. But yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
uh,
I have no history with Castlevania, but I gotta say, having seen bits and pieces from a pure visuals point of view, it is beautiful stuff.
it's
Truly beautiful stuff.
it is a gorgeous animated show, the likes of which we have not had for a while, kind of thing. It is kind of it's the only other place that I've seen these kind of quality of animation kind of things is definitely in anime, but it's really nice to see this kind of animation come in. The fight scenes are great. It's all about monster hunting and vampires, so it's obviously fits well into our monster hunting kind of horror Halloween kind of thing. And as I said, if you want to warm up the Spooktober season, Castlevania Nocturna is one of the best ways that you can start it. Look, if you haven't seen any of the other series or something like that, I definitely recommend going back and watching them as well. Which is, it doesn't matter if you're not a fan of essentially animation, this definitely transcends it, which is kind of thing. So yeah, go and watch it.
And highly accessible because it's on Netflix, folks. So the excuses are limited. It's on the big one.
It is indeed. We'll go on to some of our honorable mentions in a few, and we're going to jump back into the comments and see what people are saying. Which is so. Let's see. Yeah, there's some lots of love of Suitable Flesh looks good. Was reading about that one a few weeks back. Toe Killer's a new one to me. Noted. Yeah, no, the Total Killer looks really interesting. You were the one who brought it up to me as well. That you kind of jumped on it. You were just like, it looks really fun. It's a kind of good homage to slasher horror movie kind
Yeah.
of thing. So it's cool.
Trailer had me halfway through. It was one of those trailers where halfway I was like, shh, you don't need to show me anymore. You have me.
You had me at Time Travel Killer.
You had me at I can see the Back to the Future of all this. Yeah, and we've got, Pop Culture's joined us. Just finished Dark Crystal, wonderful, charming show. Mark Hamill was a voice in that too. Yeah, Mark Hamill's voice work is extensive, impressive, and brilliant. I love it when he gets to do live action though, because Mark Hamill is a brilliant voice actor. But people forget that he has a wonderful quality and he can bring a wonderful. Everybody knows Luke Skywalker, but see him in other things. He is very, very good at not being reverent about who Mark Hamill is. He will go and he will play the weird character and he will nail it. And having seen the trailer for House of Usher, I now remember him being in it, and it does look like a Mark Hamill role. So that could be great.
Yeah, he plays this kind of nice side butlery kind of character, which is nice to see him kind of come in as kind
Yeah.
of a warning. But yeah, he does. I will say his live action work is great, but him live action and also his voice like is fantastic. Seeing both of those things together, like it really gives him some
Yeah.
gravitas, which is just fantastic.
And who
Hush,
doesn't like Mark Hamill? Like he's a charming dude, you know?
fantastic. Which was, um, yeah. So Hush was excellent. Yeah, no, it's great. The new series looks interesting. Yeah, it looks. Excuse me. It looks very interesting in the sense that it's something different, from what we've seen before. But we said that pretty much about Midnight Mass as well. Like I knew that like I saw the original movie, which was and also read the book. So like I knew what I was getting into, but still it took me by storm. So like I can't say anything about it. Um, Gerald's game, yeah, some creepy moments in there as well. Which was so still haven't seen Doctor Sleep. Has a lot of praise to it. Doctor Sleep is really good because the the Shining, Martin Scorsese's, not Martin Scorsese, Stanley Kubrick's,
Stanley Kubrick.
I don't know, yeah,
I'd
that
really
was,
like to see Martin Scorsese's. Oh, we've got an episode there, Paul. Let's just try and reimagine all of Kubrick's films if Scorsese did them.
that would be interesting and probably take less takes. Uh,
For as long as I can remember, I wanted to manage a hotel in a very creepy mountain.
yeah, the Robert De Niro or which goes like voiceover thing will be
Joe,
like
Joe Pesci
Joe,
doing a. Do I amuse you? Are you in there?
yeah.
Here's Johnny.
We have a show there.
Yeah.
Doctor Sleep is really good. Ewan McGregor in it is very good. I can't recommend it enough. It's not on our list because it isn't out this year. Which is but I can only recommend it enough.
Yeah, can
Gerald's
I make
game.
one comment about Doctor Sleep just before you move on?
Yeah, go
I
for it.
haven't seen it, and you know what kind of killed it for a lot of people? I think if Doctor Sleep hadn't been as linked to The Shining, in a lot of people's minds, I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, Shining sequel, don't want it, don't want it, don't want it." But we've talked about it before, and that's not its deal necessarily. It's not like just sequelitis, sequel for sequel's sake. So I had promised to get around to watching it. Now I have one more thing that I have to do this Halloween. I'm going to be terrified. The back of my couch is going to have some serious nail marks in it.
But yeah, like she said, it's not a direct. It's a direct thing, and it has one of the characters, and it's more linked to the book than it is actually to the movie. I will say that
Yeah,
kind of thing. So it's very good. Um. So. Yeah, and then Gerald's game is just a fantastic, creepy kind of game or show. So or movie. So yeah, let's jump on to some of our honorable mentions. Which was so I'm gonna go. Actually, I'll go the other way. That's probably the best.
oh, he's doing a live, an audible. He's reversing as we speak.
So I'll go to
Dangerous YouTubing.
last voyage of the Demeter, which is probably not the most recent, but probably the furthest back honorable mention. So these are movies that have come out throughout this year, which is so they're already out and places. So the voyage of the Demeter is essentially the last voyage of the ship that brought Dracula over to England. It's based on the captain's logs that's in the book. Because if you know Dracula, it's essentially a bunch of letters put together into a book. This is based on the captain's log. It's very good. It's very creepy. I jumped a couple of times at places, which was nice. Kind of
And
thing.
also hard to do. It's hard to get a jump out of that, lad.
Yeah, like that was the interesting part, and I knew exactly what I was getting into. I knew I was getting into vampire territory kind of thing, but it's a very good callback to kind of small sets, small enclosed spaces, not showing the monster for quite a while kind of thing, so you don't get to look
Good choice.
kind of thing, which is nice. But yeah, it was very enjoyable watching. I can't say enough about it.
Right.
So that is the voyage of the Dementor or Demeter. Probably the next one in the list is probably Cobweb. And I'll tell you this, I haven't seen this movie, but I
I
have.
know nothing about this movie, but it caught Paul, and what he's about to say when he said it to me, I'm like, "Are you sharing a picture? Are you going to have a picture
There's a
of the
poster.
monster?"
I'm not showing the monster.
Okay, okay.
I'm not showing it. But to tell you, I saw the monster or the creature or the thing in it, and it automatically made me want to watch this movie. I literally just saw it crawling into a room, and then was just like, I'm watching this.
Gotta see the trailer covers it. I'm
Yep,
assuming.
yep.
I gotta see the. You're watching Castlevania. I'm watching the trailer for Cobweb straight after the show.
Yeah, like I'm holding off on this one because I want to watch it with my partner. But I as I said, I saw the creature. I watched the trailer, but I saw the creature walk into the room. It was one of those when you say you saw a total killer kind of thing. I literally saw the little scene of just that walking into the room, and I was just like, nope, I'm watching it. It's on my list. It's gonna be top of the list as well right now, kind of thing.
Good
So
stuff.
yeah, it looks like a cool kind of creepy kind of classic movie. To give you a little bit of premise of it, just to give you, because I think no one knows about this. It's essentially a young boy is plagued by random noises in the walls, and his parents like laugh it off as like something that the kid's just imagining. But it
And
turns
I
out
think
that he's
we've
not
all felt
imagining.
like that at least once in our childhood, haven't we? So there you go. That's your hook straight into the human psyche.
Yeah, like it's just that he hears things in the walls. His parents are just like, nah, you're hearing things, and then it turns out that he might actually be hearing things.
Also,
So
10 out of 10 for naming. There's very few good words left for single word horror film names. Cobweb is one of them.
oh yeah, it's so
Good
good.
job.
Which is I would have had uh I can't remember the name of the movie. I'll jump on. I'm just loads of movies are flushing back to me in the kind of honorable mentions, but I'll stick with the list. Talk to Me, which is another horror movie, which is probably the most recent one on our list as well. It's done by A21, so you know it's going to be good. Kind of thing. This is based on essentially that a group of people uh, find a hand, and when they
Yeah.
touch the hand, they're able to talk to the dead. And if you, I guess, if you get flatliner vibes, then yeah, it's probably something similar. But this is a very interesting kind of film, which is it's essentially based around the conversations that the group of people have with the ghosts, and then things start to kind of go unravel and kind of get a little creepy and everything like that. But the way that they introduce the kind of method of how to talk to the ghosts and stuff like that is just fantastic. They just crash into it. It's really nice kind of thing. So if you're looking for another kind of ghostly movie, then Talk to Me
And
is a good one.
inspiration to us, Paul, because the guys behind it were originally YouTubers.
Hmm.
As in, I think they still may be people who've been making their own home movies and doing YouTube filmmaking for a long, long time. So happy. And A24 at this stage, I think we might have to do a free ad spot for A24 on our show because they're doing such a good job supporting so many movies that we're like, good job, A24. You really are picking, you're not just picking obvious winners, you're picking well and supporting the right kind of projects. So yeah, really, really happy to see those guys get their chance at this and then have it so well received. Like Talk to Me's been very well received.
It's been fantastic. It's one of the top talked about movies in a while, kind of thing. I think
Yeah.
is it the Jordan Peele movie that came out at the start of the year? Nope.
Yeah.
People are saying that this is a really kind of it like two completely different genres. I'll say that, but there's like a lot of talk of kind of it gives you a really good feeling of Nope kind of thing, like kind of
Yeah.
small indie house kind of well put together storylines with a good kind of overall look and feel to it, which is just high praise. You know when you're
True. And
sorry, go ahead.
no, no, go for it.
I was just going to say it's high praise when you're starting to be automatically kind of compared to like Jordan Peele's kind of like
Yeah.
backlog of stuff. So
That's true. And actually, I'm just looking at the comments live, Paul, while we're talking about these movies, because Cobweb is getting some interest here. Um, And Mark was saying Cowboy was actually showing in cinemas there and didn't get to see it. So yeah, there's a few of these. That's what this section's for. Stuff that was recent enough that we may have missed, but we should hopefully have access to now or soon. But talk to me. Yeah, Brian's calling out that it was a big hit, but Mark says Talk to Me fell flat for him. Um, and he says he's in the minority in that opinion. But you know what? That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that it's any movie that's too universally liked. I start being a little suspicious that I'm going to be you in that case, the one that it fell flat for. So I'm kind of glad that it's not universally hitting everybody perfectly in the right tone. And Brian calls out, just as you were saying, Paul, there about Jordan Peele. Brian actually said Nope was a bit of a letdown for him.
I I get that. I like. I think it was because I think it was too. I watched that. I think it's a little bit too grand, and I don't want to. That seems weird. I think it was a
I
too
think I
much.
get what you mean.
Yeah, like the us and which was us
The first
and
one. Yeah.
oh my god, I'm going completely blank. Um, we're
We
we're
can both see the
great.
poster in our head.
Yeah, we're great. We're great, kind of small, kind of contained stories. I do think that Nope, although it's a small kind of area, I guess it's a kind of they kind of blew out a little bit more. But which is I've watched probably about halfway of Talk to Me, and I thought it was an interesting concept, kind of thing. But the problem is that I'm Get Out. That's it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a big fan of kind of horror movies in general. I just like the creepiness of old kind of things. I do know that there's people who favor certain horror movies a little bit more than others,
Of
and the
course.
way that they're produced and stuff like that. So this list is a general list kind of thing. Take what you want from us and take what you don't want from us, kind of thing. So, but I'm happy to see that at least there's some diversity in the kind of comment section as well in the chat, that there isn't
Yeah.
just a unanimous kind of this is a great movie kind of thing. So I'll be
So
interested in
have we any
picking
more
more
honorable
guys.
mentions?
No, that's it. That's the only honorable mentions we have, which is so far. I do know there's a couple of other movies that are coming out, like Boogeyman and stuff like that, but there's been like 12 Boogeyman, so I'm not,
Yeah.
it's too
I,
many.
I there is a long, long list of other horrors coming out in all their various sizes and shapes. And when I say sizes and shapes, I mean there's going to be an awful lot of video on demand horror released in the next 3 weeks. Some of it could turn out to be brilliant. The vast majority of it will turn out to be not great. But that's one of the cool things about horror. Sometimes you're okay with watching the not great stuff if it was done with enough love. Um, Paul, you started off this episode talking about it's a good era for horror movies.
Yeah.
And soon, not that I will ever take Spooktober away from you or us or the world now that you've given it to them. Um, Horror movies are coming out all year long.
Yeah.
And horror movies, when everybody says, "Oh, there's nothing in the cinema but comic book movies," like look again. There's an underdog that's been running along, like the whale that has been the MCU. There is a fish floating along right below it, and that's horror. Horror has realized the perfect balance between we can do story with budget at a reasonable, like there's no mid-level drama movies when it comes to budgets anymore. Comedies are very hard to finance,
Yeah.
but horror movies are being made and getting bigger budgets all the time, but because they're starting from such a low spot, they're not blowing the doors off. You're not talking about $200 million horror movies. I think we may be at this part of the curve. I think we're towards the bottom of an upward swing where people like me who, not traditionally like horror, like some horror movies, but it's not my main genre, let's say. I think it's going to become that so much is being made and so much of it is good that we won't be considering horror as something that happens at Halloween. People like me. It'll be, oh yeah, that's the new good horror movie that's out and it's in March.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a very good kind of mention, is the fact that it is filling a hole, a gap in the market kind of thing, because it is something that just will continuously to get budget no matter what, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what's coming out. Actually, one more just honorable mention. Sorry, No One Will Save You. That's only coming out in the cinemas or soon, I think.
Yeah.
No One Will Save Me. It's one that's caught my eye. It's an honorable mention because I don't know anything about it. So I've literally just I was checking up. I was checking up essentially my list of essentially what I'm going to watch over the next month, and it
Yeah,
was on the list.
I had it on my list. It's actually it caught my eye because the lead is one of the ladies from Booksmart. So I think it's the same person that I'm thinking of, and I'm kind of interested. So it actually looks good too, but I don't know enough about it. I just had it mentally on my list as well.
Yeah, yeah. Which is yeah. If you want, then also the Evil Dead's are all up on streaming services as well. Evil Dead Rising, great body horror. Renfield was also fun, and Scream Six, which goes that's also a fun kind of movie. So, go check them out. Which goes
Good call.
and if you really want to go mental and see the psyche of what I love, go see Mad God. It's a stop animation movie that came out I think last year. It's insane. But anyway, which goes, thanks for watching our horror movies listing for you in Spooktober. Which
I'm
is
going with you. Spooked. Over.
which could let us know what you think of our list. Is there anything that we haven't mentioned, either that came out this year in the horror genre that is coming out in next month, either TV streaming or out in the theaters? Let us know in the comments down below. And all I gotta say is, yeah, get ready for a lot of I guess horror movie themed videos in the next month, hopefully. Which is so. But yeah. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and yeah, enjoy your horror movies. I've been Paul.
I've been Patrick.
And we've been Hear Us Out.
New drinking game every time Paul says Spooktober. Anyway, bye.
Oh my god, alcohol poisoning. Anyway, bye.